Can you tell that I like Spider-Man? It's homemade, you know. All right. Keep it on a little bit. So I watched Spider-Man No Way Home. I wasn't sure if I was going to do like a review on it. I mean, I don't have in-depth analysis on it yet, of course. I've only seen it once, but I think my thoughts are unique enough to justify a little obligatory review for a new movie coming out. So obviously, to get it out of the way, I liked it on a scale of worst movie ever to best movie ever. Best movie ever, I guess. I'm not like an anti-fan of Spider-Man. A lot of Spider-Man fans are anti-fans. Like, they love whatever version they like of the character, and then they hate whatever version they don't like. I don't have a version of the character that I hate. I don't hate MCU Spider-Man. I don't hate Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I don't understand the people that hate with a passion something that they say that they love. That's just where I'm coming from with this. I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I understand sort of the appeal of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I won't say any of them are bad. So anyway, my thoughts on the movie. I like it a lot. It feels the most like a comic book, I think. One of my issues with a lot of superhero movie adaptations is that they don't feel like a lived-in comic book universe. The MCU is the closest that we've had to that, of course, because it's this interconnected series of movies. But it seems to me more like less a comic book universe and more a world full of silly paramilitary organizations. Well, just the one, I guess. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is a stand-in for the U.S. Army, and by extension, the Avengers are like Blackwater. But No Way Home feels like a comic book universe in a really good way. Obviously, it's a Spider-Man movie, so it centers around Peter Parker, Spider-Man, but it also features characters like Doctor Strange. And by the way, spoilers ahead. This is not a non-spoiler review. I don't believe in those. Anyway, Doctor Strange is in it for a good portion, not enough to overshadow Spider-Man. And Daredevil shows up. Matt Murdock shows up. And he doesn't suit up or anything. It's just he's Peter's lawyer. That's the kind of crossover that I like to see. You know, they exist in the same universe, but it's not like an all or nothing thing. It's not like either no connection or so much connection. Like, I know a lot of people complain about Iron Man overshadowing Spider-Man in the movies, like Homecoming, Iron Boy Jr. I don't like that complaint. I think I understand it, but I don't agree with it. Anyway, yeah, I like the casual cameos and, the connections, and it's non-intrusive in my opinion. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, of course. It's the worst kept secret in Hollywood. I feel bad for Andrew, honestly. He had to lie and gaslight the world for so long.
I heard about it, and I did see it, and it's a Photoshop.
I hope he's doing okay. But yeah, anyway, I think the alternate versions of Peter are used very tastefully. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. It was a very good balance, I think. And again, those versions of the character didn't overshadow Tom Holland's Peter Parker, who the movie is, of course, about. And it feels like we get enough of them that it doesn't just feel like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. Like, it feels like they're there for a decent amount of time. And it makes me want more of them. I want to see more of Andrew Garfield, especially because he got shafted so hard. I would love to see Spider-Man 4. I would love to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3. A good version of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, not the one that we almost got. I just want to see Andrew get another shot at being Spider-Man. I think it's very delightful to see him as the character. He clearly loves Spider-Man. So it's great that he's gotten another shot in this movie. I would love to have it continue with his own series, whether it's movies or even like a TV series. I like what they've been doing with MCU characters like Loki, Hawkeye, etc. And as for the villains, I mean, obviously some were more better used than others. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock were used pretty decently. Sandman, Electro, and the Lizard. Electro is all right. Lizard and Sandman were just kind of there. I liked seeing Sandman be a good guy. He's like, hey, Peter, you're my buddy, because, Peter forgived him for killing, one of his favorite relatives. Anyway, Doc Ock was used all right. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was quite as good as Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe stole the show, of course. Anyway, I like that Peter used his nanotech to restrain Doc Ock. It's a good use of the technology that he has. If he didn't use the technology, then it would be a glaring plot hole, but he doesn't over rely on it like some people have argued for previous movies. But when it comes to that, I do wish that Peter had a bit more agency in that, because it's like the nanotech senses the Doc Ock arms and is like, new device, do you want a pair? And Peter's like, okay. I mean, I think it would be nice if Peter had some, if it was his idea, is what I'm trying to say. If Peter was like, hey, nanotech suit, become his arms. And I really like that Doc Ock got a little reunion with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, post getting the arms out of his head. It's a nice reunion. You love to see it. And like I said before, Willem Dafoe stole the show with his performance. He's obviously an incredible actor. And seeing him again as the Green Goblin, again, I know this isn't a new idea, and I'm not the first person to say it, but he should be some live action Joker. In whatever DC series of movies they're gonna make, whatever they decide to do, I would like to see Willem Dafoe play some version of the Joker. Like, people have photoshopped it. People have done mock-ups of, what would Willem Dafoe look like with the Joker makeup. And I think the way that he looks, I don't want to be mean, but how he looks like a scary dude. And his performance as the Green Goblin it shows he has great potential to be an incredible Joker. And now I'm sure there's some controversy around Aunt May being sort of MCU Peter's Uncle Ben. I know Uncle Ben is mentioned in What If, but that's not canon. So there's been no canon mention of Ben Parker, aside from the briefcase that's in half a second of Far From Home. One thing that I've noticed about the traditional dynamic with Spider-Man and his memory of Uncle Ben is that it feels like Spider-Man's motivations are often fueled by guilt. And I don't like that too much, because I don't think Spider-Man's main concern should be, if I'm not Spider-Man, I'll feel bad about it. I like that Aunt May's sacrifice teaches Peter compassion, and she died for what she believed in. She believed that the villains should be saved. No one is beyond saving. And she died for that message, and Peter is continuing that for her. I like that. I like that that's his motivation to keep being Spider-Man, not because he'll feel bad if he doesn't, but if he doesn't, then, he's not living up to what he could be. If that makes any sense. It's a pretty subtle difference, I guess, but it's something that I really appreciate. And overall, I think that No Way Home feels in a way, like an apology for how the MCU has treated Spider-Man up to this point. There's the obvious, Iron Boy Jr. complaint, which different versions of characters can exist. I don't mind Spider-Man having a mentor. It's not perfect, but I don't hate it. Whatever. Fine. But I will say my one complaint, I guess my one glaring issue with Spider-Man so far has been that he doesn't exhibit as much ingenuity as I think he should. I hate to compare him to Iron Man again, but in Iron Man 3, Tony has to take down the Mandarin with nothing. He doesn't have his suit. He doesn't have, he can't just buy his way out, and he can't like shoot a missile at his problem. So he has to just put together whatever he can with whatever he can find at like a hardware store. That's what I think Spider-Man should be. It's this guy cobbling together whatever he can find to take down the bad guy, He's just a poor kid doing his best. He's smart, but he has limitations when it comes to what he can afford to do and what can feasibly be done by a working class person. I think that's part of what makes him interesting. So when you give him a multi-million-dollar suit with all of this equipment that's just given to him, it takes away quite a bit. And yeah, so with the soft reboot that they sort of do at the end, where they kind of hit the reset button, they take away all of Peter's connections, they basically put him back at square one, both economically and like socially. I think that's the direction it's going to head in, and I feel very optimistic about it. It's going to be Spider-Man pulling together whatever he can to fight the bad guy, and he has to get more creative, and I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to see where the character goes next. I kind of hope that in his next appearance, he's going to try to like get a job with the Fantastic Four, because they are coming in like a couple years, I think. It would be cool if, he's like trying to get a job with them like he does in the comics, like in Amazing Spider-Man #1. It would be a cool little callback. And of course, he needs new connections to superheroes. He needs income. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. I know it's not as in-depth as my other content. It's less scripted. I just wanted to put something out about the movie because I really like it. I enjoyed it so much. And I think what the movie does for the character, like where it progresses his journey, I think it's going in a great direction. Oh, I didn't even mention the new suit. They don't show much of the new suit. I don't think they've released anything about it. I don't think they've released any like HD images of it. Let me look it up real quick, actually. Okay, it looks like you can see it pretty well in the official Christmas TV spot for Spider-Man No Way Home. In like the first like 2 seconds, you can see it fairly clearly. Anyway, it's a very classic looking suit. I like to think that in universe, Tom's Peter took inspiration from seeing Tobey and Andrew's suits, and he like made his own inspired by those. Oh, that reminds me of another thing that I wanted to talk about that I forgot to write down. So in the movie, obviously Tom Holland's suit is CGI. It basically always has been, except for like the homemade suit, which by the way is my favorite. But anyways, Tom Holland's suit is CGI. Andrew Garfield's suit, Tobey Maguire's suit, they're not CGI. They're physical suits that they're actually wearing, and you can really see the difference on camera. I hope that that's the direction they go with it. I really want the next Spider-Man appearance I want him to have a practical suit. I want it to be something that you believe is real, because the other suits look realistic, but I know it's not real. I know it's not there. I would like a bit more tangibility in his next appearance. Sony, I know you're watching this. Make it happen. Anyway, those are all my thoughts. That's it, I think. I'm like 3 minutes into editing the video, and I just realized I completely forgot to talk about the setup for the movie. Like, I forgot about the bit about Spider-Man being framed for killing Mysterio, which I think is fitting because so did the movie. I thought, obviously a big portion of the movie is spent dealing with the consequences of Peter being outed as Spider-Man. I just wish that there was more of it, I guess. It just feels like an excuse for the rest of the movie to happen, because like Peter needs some reason to go to Doctor Strange to do the spell and to kickstart the plot of the movie. I of course am not the first person to say this, but I wish that there was like a bit of the courtroom drama with Spider-Man on trial and Daredevil defending him. I think that would be cool. Just do something with it beyond, oh no, I'm in trouble. Oh, better go to Doctor Strange and start the rest of the movie. It's not completely terrible. There are consequences. A lot of people complain about Spider-Man, this version of Spider-Man, not facing consequences or not dealing with repercussions. It feels like this Spider-Man is really dealing with some serious consequences of not only his actions, but Mysterio outing him. Like, he's facing like a real problem. And like, yeah, sure, it's like, oh no, my friends aren't going to get into college. be like they are going to. He just had to talk to the person. It is still like, it's not just that. It's an indication of what life is going to be like moving forward. So there are serious consequences. Peter deals with real problems. I just wish that it was explored a little bit more. I want more of it. And that's an indication of how good the movie is, that I want more of it. At least I don't want any less of any certain thing. Also, Spider-Man fighting Doctor Strange. That was really cool. It was really cool that he used math to fight magic. A+. All right, now that's all. There's all of my thoughts on the movie. If you like the video, like and subscribe, comment. If you agree or disagree, either way it boosts engagement. Leave a like. If you didn't like the video, YouTube says you can't do that anymore. And share this video. Don't share this video. Share one of my better videos and tell all of your friends to subscribe to me. And I don't have a Patreon yet, but if you just want to like mail me some cash, that'd be fine. Anyway, have a Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. If you're watching this after Christmas, have the next holiday. Have it on me.